Hello, and thank you for joining me today for our webinar. Today we will be going over getting started in building your online store using Weebly. My name is Justin. I work for Weebly in our Scottsdale office. I work on our training and communication team, and the best part of my week is always being able to deliver these webinars to you, our customers. We will be going through a kind of set flow on how to use Weebly to build your store, but feel free to ask any questions that you want throughout the presentation. At the end of the presentation, I will be doing a Q&A session that will last as long as there are questions. Now, I may end up answering your question as I go through my set flow, but feel free to ask them. And again, at the end, I'll make sure to get all of them answered. So let's get started. What we're looking at here is the Weebly editor. I have a pre-built site that we will use to create a store. So the first step as we go into create the store is to go to the Store tab. What we see here is an overview, kind of a roadmap to getting started building your store. So the first thing that we're going to ask you to do is start designing your site. And I've already done that here, so we already see the green check mark. The next piece that we see is to add store information. So we are going to go through the flow in this way, and then we will talk about these options on the left-hand side as we go. So we need to add our store address and contact information. So we will click Add Information, and we'll go ahead and click on Edit. So we will add a company name. So we'll call this one Art of Ashtanga with the street address, 4301 North, Scottsdale Road. We want to put in an email address and phone number as well. This type of information will be displayed on the emails that go out when people make purchases or get refunds or what have you. So we'll use Justin at artofashtanga.com, and we will just put in a fake phone number here. And then click on Save. So at this point, this information, the address, is being validated. The fact that we didn't see any error means that we were able to confirm that this is actually an address. Now, this is very important because this is the information that's going to give us kind of a jump start in setting up our taxes and shipping just a little bit down the road. So as we scroll down, we see some general settings. So these are the basic settings of our store. We get to select our currency, and you can see the different options that we have here. We can choose the units of measurement that we use. This is important when determining the weight of products, and the weight of products is used to help us calculate our shipping costs. Then we have purchase mode, add to cart or buy now. So we can allow users to buy just one thing at a time or to purchase multiple items through a cart functionality. And then we click on Save to save our changes. The next section here is layout. So this is how categories and products are displayed on the automatically generated category pages. This is not going to make a lot of sense right now, so I'm not going to change anything yet. But once we start looking at our category pages, we'll see how this all comes into play. Down here is the option for social icons. So we can go ahead and edit, look at these. So on our product pages, which we will see, Weebly automatically puts some options for people to share your product on their own social pages. So Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Google+. We can turn this off altogether, or we can turn off individual ones. One thing to keep in mind is that this is a great feature for you to use and just keep on to allow people to share your products so that your store gets spread more widely through the internet and that you can increase your sales. If you are just selling private products or within a group or for an organization and you're just selling tickets, then you can turn this off as you may not want people to share that type of information. Lastly, down here we see tracking. We do give you the opportunity to use advanced tracking. We won't be going through this in too much detail, but basically we give you some variables that you can use in third-party code, and then you'll put that code into these locations as you need to track. Now that we're done with the setup of our store, we can go back to overview, and we see that Weebly recognizes that we have added our store information. And the next thing will be to add our first products. So let's go ahead and we will add a product. So the first thing we see is we need to give our product a name. So we will be selling a yoga class. So let's call this one Ashtanga Primary Series Class. Here is where we will have a description of our product. We want to keep this relatively short, but keep it very descriptive, as this is what's going to help people determine if they want to buy it or not. So we can just start typing in here, join our lead primary series class each Thursday from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. We can use bullet points or a numbered list. So bring your own mat. Early signups, save $5. And again, we can do more formatting. So we can say, we'll make this bold. We'll underline this part, and you get the idea. We can also add product images. So you can click on this and it'll open your Finder on your computer. So you can start pulling images in, or we can just drag images into the product. So I'll drag an image in here. And we can drag a second one. Over here on the left, the next option we see is product type. So Weebly allows you to sell 3 different types of goods. Physical goods, so these are things like books that you are going to be selling and then shipping to your customers. Digital goods, these are ebooks or audio files or videos, things that after purchase your customer can download. And then there is the service type product, which is none of the above. It's not something that they're going to download. It's not something you need to ship to them. And it defines our class here. So when we're selling a class, we're selling a service, so we will choose this type. And the next thing we do is we select our price. So let's say the standard price for this class is $25, but because if you sign up and purchase through the website, so before the class, then you get it for $20. So we can set the sale price. We can set SKUs. Now these give us the ability on the back end to keep track of the products that are being sold, and this is very helpful when you're using physical stock. I'm not going to set a SKU for this service just because it's not going to help me for my business at all, so I'll just leave that blank for now. The next option is the track inventory. So this gives us the ability to select how many of these items can we sell. So for this yoga class, there's a limited amount of room in the studio. I do need to track the inventory. I can only sell 25 spaces to this class. We can also choose for this item to be tax exempt. For this particular one, because I would be charging tax if they bought it from my studio, I'm going to want to charge tax selling it through the website as well, so I'm not going to select this as tax exempt. And then we have this option here for visibility. So right now it's set to show, but we can hide this product if we wanted to make it so that only people who had the link could go in and buy it, or for any reason that you wouldn't want this just to generally be visible on your website. But we want it to be visible, so we will uncheck this. Over here we have advanced options. So this is for the SEO page title and SEO description. We are not going to get too deep into this, but if we go to Google and we just search Ashtanga Yoga. The SEO page title is this blue link, and the description is this gray piece of text down below. So whatever you put into the title and description will be what shows up if this product is found via a search on the internet. We can also choose to set the permalink, and I will go over this option on another product that we build. It's not going to make a lot of sense right now. So we've set up our options for this class, so we can go ahead and click on Save. So now we see that we are taken to our products list, and this is where, as we add products, we will be able to manage them all in this window. We can see that this one is a service type product that right now is $20 because we set the sale price to $20 and has a remaining inventory of 25. As these products start to get purchased, the inventory level will go down, so we will be able to see right here on this page how many we have left. So let's go ahead and add a second product. We're going to add another type of class. This one will be a workshop. So this will be a backbending workshop. Join us this Saturday for our led by Kelly. And then again, we can drag some images in. The product type on this is again a service type. The workshops are more expensive. We're going to sell this one for $50. There's not going to be a sale price. We do need to track inventory. So we're going to set this one at 30. We don't want it tax exempt. And we don't want it hidden. And we can go ahead and click on Save. All right, so we've got these two products in here. Let's look at a different type of product. Let's look at some sort of a digital product. So we're going to sell an ebook. So this one will be called Ashtanga Yoga as taught by Joyce. Again, you'd want your description to actually describe it. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go through creating these. We're going to use an image for this. Let's use this one. Now this is a digital good, and we're going to sell this ebook for $15, no sale price. Because it's just a download, I don't need to track the inventory on it. I have an unlimited amount of downloads that I can sell here, so no need to use this. On this one, I am going to make it tax exempt, so taxes will not be charged on this electronic purchase, and we are going to leave this visible in the store. Here we can set the download limit. So we can say that when somebody purchases this product, they can use their link to download this X number of times. So I can say that they can download this file through their link 3 times, or I can say that they can download it for 3 days. So the reason that you would want to set this, we don't want to set it to 1 download, because then if something happens and they lose that download or it didn't work properly or whatever, they're going to have to come back to you, the store owner, and say, hey, I've had this problem. Whereas if you just set it to a little bit higher number, not only are you stopping them from downloading it hundreds of times and sharing the link with other people, but you're giving them the opportunity to get through and download that even if they have an error or two. So we can go ahead and click on Save. And now we can see that we have a digital good. So we've created service goods, a digital good, and we'll go ahead and create one more just to kind of fill out our products section. And this one is going to be a physical product. So we're going to sell yoga mats. and we'll drag in an image. For this, I'm going to have a few images because I'm going to sell a number of different colors of mats. So the description, the best yoga mats. Choose from, and we can list our colors: blue, pink, purple, black. We can even do maybe some custom embroidery. So custom name, optional. And as always, we can go through and we can make little edits like that. Make this part italic. Maybe make this part bold. Over here, as we look at our pictures, what I can do is drag these images around. So when somebody pulls up this product on my site, the first image they are going to see is whatever we have in the very top. So I'm going to want this image with all of the matte colors showing. And now one thing we see is that this is kind of cut off. So the image itself isn't cut off, but what we're seeing here in the editor does show it as cut off. And so this is a setting that we may need to look into changing. And it's one of those that I skipped over earlier. So we will see what this product looks like after we create it. So the product type is a physical good. Let's say the base price for our mats is $90. And then we won't mark anything as on sale yet. We see a different option here. There's an option for weight. So let's say each of our mats weighs 3 pounds. So we put the 3 there. And then we can create a SKU if we want. I'm going to hold off for just a second. We do not want it tax exempt. We do not want it hidden. And I'm going to not use this inventory option quite yet. And you're going to see why in just a second. So now we have this option down here for physical goods, for product options. Add multiple options like size and color. That's perfect because that's exactly what we are going to do. So we click on Add Options and we see this modal pop up. There's a few different ways that we can display our options. We can display it in a drop-down, as a multiple choice, as a color choice, or text input. So let's start with color choice, since we know we are going to use color here. Option title, so this will be matte color. Option choices, we'll say black, and then I use the tab key. Pink, tab, blue, tab, purple, and those are our 4 choices. So we see that by default, this little black square got added to all of these, but if I click on it, I can change it to be the color that I've typed out here. So we'll use that for a blue, and we'll use this one for a purple. And now I can add additional options. So for the next one, we want to do, let's say we give people the option of mat size. And there's 2 options. Let's say there's a 90 inch and there's a 110 inch. Maybe we'll add one final option for text input, right? I mentioned that they can do the custom name. So we'll type in custom name. We can have a max character length. So let's say the max we can do is 25 characters, and we're going to make this not required. The last thing that we need to do, if somebody uses this option, I want to charge them more than if they didn't. So I just need to add one more option here. And we can actually move these around. So this can be above, and this will be a drop down. Or maybe we'll use a multiple choice just to see what it looks like. And this will be custom name with a question mark, yes or no. So we have our options built out here, so we will click Save. And now we see down below that a table has been created that has all of these different individual combinations of options that I just set up. We see that there's a black mat that's 90 inches with the custom name. There's also a black mat that's 110 inches with the custom name. So what we want to do here is change the price of each of these to reflect what we want to charge for. So if we think about what the base option is, the base option here will be the black mat that's 90 inches, does not have the custom name, and we will say that that is $90. So we'll say that all four options of the 90-inch and no name are $90. So what about the 110-inch with no name? Let's say that the longer mat is an extra $30. So we have to move all of these up to 120. And I can increase how many of these show up per page. So we see the last one here, and I can change it to 120. So then we'll go up to the top here. So the 90-inch with the custom name, let's say that it costs $15 to have the custom name. So we are going to make this price 105, 105, 105, and 105. Lastly, we have the 110-inch mats with the custom name. So that means we need to add 30 plus 15 to this price here. So these will be 135. And let's say that very finally, our black mats are all $10 off. They're on sale. So I can go through and set a sale price for $10 off for each of the black mats. So $10 off of this option is 95. 10 off of this option is 125. 10 off of this option is 80. And 10 off of this option is 110. They all already have the weight of 3 pounds because I input this earlier. Now we notice that that area where I input the weight and I could choose the SKU, all of that has disappeared because I have this new table down here. So if I wanted to set SKUs for each of these, I absolutely could. And this would be a great example for a time that you may want to, for your ability to pick stock from your inventory. And the last option we have here is image. So if I click this button, what I see are all of the images that I uploaded earlier up in this area. So we want to choose the variant image that matches our color. So I'm going to go through and select each of these, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Okay, so we have images attached to all these variations. My product is built, and I'm going to click on Save. So now when we see the product, we can see it's a physical good. It has a price range here. I can go back in, and now I can go to the product page. So I can see what this product actually looks like. So I can see my price range, my images. I can click through the images. And I also can look at these different options here. So I can choose black, and we see that as I choose the color, the image changes. So that's that thing that we just set up. Even though this is not really blue, that's why we went through that to set up those images. So let's say I want the purple mat that is 110 inches with a custom name. We see that the price for that has changed to 135. But if I'm like, no, I actually want the black mat, we see the black mat is on sale for 125. If I wanted the black matte base, we see that the price continues to change. And this is what your product will look like when your customer goes to buy it. So this experience of having the image change, have the price change depending on what's chosen, it's a very good buying experience for your customer. So let's go back to the store. We find ourselves back at the overview section. Next thing we see is we can start accepting payments. So let's go ahead and set up payment. So what we see here are multiple options. We have the option for Stripe, Square, or Authorize.net, which are all credit card processors. I can select one of these three to actually use on my site. The easiest one to set up is for Stripe. So we will go ahead and do that now. We will click on Connect. We will create a brand new Stripe account, click on Next. And now all we need to do is put in an email address that we want associated with our Stripe account. So we will use Justin at artofashtanga.com. I'm located in the United States. I want to use US dollars. So I click on Next. And what we've just done is we've created an account with that other company, Stripe. There's another step that I have to go through. I actually have to go to Stripe and connect all of my information to my new account. And that's what we will go through here. I'm not going to do that during the webinar, but that will be the next step in the process. But as of right now, if somebody were to go to my website and find my products, they would actually be able to purchase, even though I haven't completed setup of Stripe. And if somebody did purchase, let's say for $100, and then I went in and set up my Stripe account after, when I finished the setup, that $100 would be there waiting for me. So this is not something that we want to put off, but it's not something that I have to do right at this moment. So now because I selected Stripe, you see that the other two options are no longer here. So I can only have one of those three credit card processors chosen. But the fourth option that we can use is PayPal. So I can use PayPal in conjunction with a credit card processor or on its own. So we can go ahead and connect, and then we just choose which type of account. I can set up a brand new PayPal account through here and go ahead and connect that to my site. Or if I already have one, I can use this option, click connect, and I'll be taken through the next part of the process. Under here, we see our store policies. So this is where we can create a return policy or a shipping policy. So this gives us an example of what it could be, and yours can be anything that you want. And you can format the text in the same way that we could format it for the products. We'll go ahead and click on Save. And then we have some additional checkout options. So we can enable features that appear on the checkout page. We can give our buyers the ability to leave us a little note, so a note to seller when they're purchasing. Sometimes that's really helpful. Now, if we want to make the phone number optional, if we think that it's going to be a reason that they're not going to buy from us, or we just see no reason to collect it, I can make that optional during checkout. And then lastly, I have the ability to enable a marketing opt-in checkbox. So this is going to be very powerful if you are using our Promote software. Promote is an email marketing email marketing software that allows you to stay in touch with your contacts, and this will allow you to have your buyers basically give you their approval to start sending them emails. So we can turn that on if we wanted, and go ahead and click on Save. So now we have checkout complete. Let's go back to the overview. Maybe we will need to refresh real quick. Not 100% sure why this isn't loading, but we can continue on our little journey here even without this. So we can go back to products, and here we see our products listed here. Under products, we see another option that we haven't touched on yet, and that is categories. So we can use categories to help categorize our store. This will give us the ability to be very organized as we are building our store, and it also makes the buying experience very easy for our customers. So let's go ahead and add a category. This one's going to be called lead classes. We can pull in an image to be used as a part of this. And now I can select products that I want to be a part of this. So we have this one lead class that we want to be associated with this category. We can change the display options for this page. So as you know, there's different layouts for our pages, different header types. So for this one, we'll just make it a no header, and we can go and see how that looks. So we save it, we go back in, and now we see we can view the category. And this is what our category page looks like. So on this category, there is just the one product. Looks a little bit sad, but you can imagine having more and more products to display all of everything that you have within this category. So let's create a couple of more categories. We're going to add one for workshops. And we can select the backbending workshop, save, and then we will add one for gear. So I'm not going to add the product through here. I'm just going to save it. And we see that there is no product that's a part of this category. I want to show you that here in the products, now that we have categories created, I can go in and there's a new option available to me when I'm creating my products or editing them. I can add them to categories within the product page itself and then save. And then we have one last one. We'll call this one ebooks. Drag an image in. Okay, maybe we won't do the image. I'll just use it. And then we will select the product. We'll save and we will move on. So we have 4 categories here. We have our 4 products. Now, where on my site can I actually see these? If we go to this plus button, we see that there's a couple of options that we have here. We can do a category page. So what does this look like? This gives me the ability to create a page for one of my categories in particular. So if I wanted to create a page for my lead classes that shows up here, I can do that, lead classes. And I can also do that for, let's do one for gear. We'll call this one gear. So now I've got these individual category pages that show up in my navigation, but what if I want something to display all of my products, kind of like a storefront functionality? So we go back and click on plus. What we want to do is actually build our own storefront using a standard page. So we will call this one our store. We can go ahead and turn off the header. And now we can build a page like we would. Scroll down, e-commerce, and we can do this in a couple of ways. We have a categories element, so I can drag that on. And here I can select all of the categories that I want to display on this page. We're just going to show them all. I can choose the layout that I want these to look like, so it can be a grid, or masonry, which basically respects the actual size of these pictures, or I can just put them all in a single row so that people can scroll through them. There are also additional options. I can increase the number of columns. So we can do the single row, and it'll look like you can scroll, but since I only have 4, you won't be able to. I could even go down to 2, and they can scroll through them like this. I kind of like being able to see everything that I have right now just because there's not a ton. And if I ever wanted to add other categories or remove them, I can do that here by deleting them. And I can also move these around. So if I want gear and then ebooks to be followed by the classes, we can do that. So now we are displaying our categories. How about our products? So here in the same place, we see a products element. We can drag that onto the page. And in a similar way, we can go ahead and add all of our products. Now, if I have some featured products and I only want to add certain ones, I can open these up and I can actually just select individual products. Now, if I have this box checked here, then that means that all future products that are added to this category are going to be included as part of this product element. So then I won't have to worry about adding them in the future. Again, we have these options for how to display the products. The one different one is we can do multi-image, which will show off multiple images per each product. And I can come in here and I can increase the number of columns if I like that. I can change the layout altogether. We can make it a grid, so you only see the one image. So I like the way this looks, except for the fact that this picture is kind of cut off. And remember, that's what we were kind of looking at earlier. So what can I do to make this image look much better? So why don't we go to the Store tab, Setup, and scroll down. Under Layout, we can go to Edit, and now we can see here our product image ratio. So this is set to be a square right now, 1:1. But what I want is it to be a bit more of a wide rectangle because it's the left and the right edges of my picture that are being cut off. So we will go ahead and choose 3:2, click on Save, and we'll head back to our page. I need to just reload this page. So we will go to a different one first and then back to our store. And this is where we will change it. So that image ratio will be what we see on the category pages. So if I go to More and then Gear, we see that now this is nice and wide so that this image fits, whereas before it was cut off. But when I want to change it within the element, I do that from the display options, image options here, and I chose the wide version. So now we have a storefront built. I can add a title. So and then we can add another one down here. Can add a divider to kind of separate the two. And we will center this. And so now we have a custom built storefront page. In our navigation now, we see that I've added these category pages and this storefront page. The way I would really like my navigation to work is for these pages to be a sub page of my main page. So I'll just drag that up, and just like we did up here, I will pull these over so that now I see our store and I see these category sub pages. So now if we publish the site to make all of those changes go live, I can go to my live website, our store. I can see that the gear that we have. I can click on the yoga mat, choose the pink and the mat size, custom name, and we see the price of this yoga mat. I go to our store page, we see this storefront that I just created. With the ebook, I can add it to my cart. We see that it's in my cart up here. I can go to checkout and start going through the flow. There are a few other things that we haven't set up yet that we really should take a look at. So we'll back out of here, go back to the editor, and go back to the store tab. So we can see here on the overview that we still need to set up shipping and set up taxes. So we can start those from here, but where they are located is here in setup, and then shipping and taxes. So the first thing we see in shipping is the shipping address. So this is the address from which our products will ship. This is important because it allows us to set up our rates based on where the goods are coming from. So if the store address that I set up earlier here in the setup tab, if that is the same address that I ship from, all I have to do is click on use store address and click on save, and this step is done. Or I can go in and I can add my own information to this area if it's different than what I set up for the store. The next thing we need to set up are the shipping rules. So these rules will basically define areas which we will ship to. So my store is in Scottsdale, Arizona. So I definitely want to ship to the United States, Canada, Mexico, but then I can determine whether I want to ship to the rest of the world. So I'm going to choose North America, and we see everything that's included: United States, Canada, Bermuda, Greenland, Mexico. So let's say that this isn't exactly what I want. I want to make it a little bit more individualized. So I want to charge the continental United States, so everything except for Hawaii and Alaska, I want to charge them a different rate than when I ship to Hawaii and Alaska because I know it's going to cost me more to ship. So I select the continental United States, and now I can move to the next step of adding a rate. So I can apply shipping to my orders based on a few different options: order price, order weight, quantity, flat rate, or I can just do a free shipping option. We're going to do it based on order weight. This is why we set the 3-pound weight for our yoga mats. And let's say that we're going to use FedEx 7-day just to start. So now we define the parameters for this rate. So from 0 pounds to 3 pounds, the shipping rate is going to be $15 to ship this. We'll say from just over 3 pounds through 6 pounds, the shipping rate is $22. And then from just over 6 pounds to 9 pounds, we'll say the shipping rate is $29. And then we can have a shipping rate from this upper range, so just over 9 up to infinity, and we can say that anything that falls in this range, we're going to charge $50 for shipping. I can also set up a backup shipping rate so that in case the order does fall outside of this range, that it will be covered by this. But because I set up this last option here, I don't need to worry about this, setting this. So we can go ahead and save this rate, and we see it show up here. So I want to offer an additional option here. So we're going to add a shipping rate, and this will again be based on order weight. We will call this one FedEx 2-day. From 0 to 3, the shipping is more expensive, so it's $22. From just over 3 to 6 pounds, the shipping is $29. From just over 6 to 9, the shipping is $35. And then maybe on this one, we will just set the backup rate as 50, which did the same thing as adding the 9 to infinity that we did before. So now I see that there are going to be 2 different rates for the continental United States. I do want to ship to Alaska and Hawaii. So we can go ahead and set that up. But what we have to do is add a brand new shipping rule, because the shipping rule, again, defines the area that we are shipping to. So I'm going to choose just United States. And we see that the only options we have to add as far as states go are Alaska and Hawaii, because all of the other options are a part of this first rule that we set up. So if I wanted to include all of these sub-regions of the United States, then I can go ahead and check all these, but I can make it easier on myself. Just cancel this, add the shipping rule, and we'll do the United States and territories. So this will have everything else checked that wasn't included in our first rule. So we click on save. Let's add a rate. So let's say for this, it'll be based on weight, and we'll do this a little more quickly. So from 0 to 6, the rate is going to be 34, and from 6 to 12, the rate is going to be 50, and the backup rate will be 65. And we will call this one FedEx 5-day. And click on save. So now we see that for these regions, there are going to be different shipping rates than what is being offered to the continental United States. And I can go through and I can set these up for any area in the entire world that I want to set them up for. One important thing to note is that at this point, my store would not allow people with a Canadian shipping address or one from Mexico or Europe to purchase. Because since I have defined locations that I will ship to, anything that I have not defined, a message will come up saying that I do not ship there. So if you do set up shipping and you want to ship to the whole world, then you're going to want to either add everything in the world in different groups, or we can just create a rest of the world option. We can choose this one based on weight. From 0 to 6, we'll say that it's 78. I'm totally guessing. 6 to 12, we'll say that it's 97. And the backup shipping rate is 150 or something crazy. Oh, I need to name the rate, and we'll call this one UPS International 7-day. Save. So now our shipping rules cover the entire world, and anybody in the world could buy from us. They would be given a shipping rate, and I would be covered. And again, these rates are, you don't want to just guess. You're going to want to figure out exactly what it's going to cost you to ship from your location to the continental United States based on weight. And then you put in that information here. What you see down here is product availability. So if left unchecked, things like digital downloads and services will only be available for purchase in the shipping zones specified above. So if I left off this rest of the world, let's say that I just was going to delete it, then this would be very important. This would mean that my digital downloads, if I do not have this checked, can only be purchased by people in these areas. But there's no reason for me not to sell the digital goods to the whole world, so I definitely want these to be available worldwide. But on the other side, my services, it doesn't make sense for me to sell my service to somebody in Australia because my class is in Scottsdale, Arizona. There's no reason to allow them to buy it, so I can turn that one off. Now, we saw up here that there's going to be a bit of research required on your part in order to set up the shipping and all the rates. We do have the option for real-time shipping, and this really changes the game in terms of ease of use. So I do have to upgrade really quick to do this one. So we will just get on the performance plan. So now we have this option for real-time shipping. So this allows for me to offer up to the minute rates that are automatically calculated by the carrier when somebody is buying from my store. There are 4 options of carriers that you can use: USPS, DHL, UPS, and FedEx. So we see that these 2 immediately show active. This does not mean that they're going to show right away on your website. It just means that these are connected to these carriers. And the reason they're connected is because Weebly has a merchant account that we have automatically turned on for you, which allows you to immediately use the feature without having your own account. But if you do have your own account with USPS, then you are more than welcome to use that here. Same thing with DHL. We have a merchant account, so it's automatically connected. But it's not the same with UPS and FedEx. In order to turn these on, you actually will have to connect your user accounts with these companies in order to activate these options. So now that these options are active, if they're not showing on my site right now, how do I get them to show? So we just need to scroll back up. Before I do that, the last thing here is the shipping box. So this defines the size of box that I'm going to be using to ship my products. So in general, stores will use one type, one size of box that they will use to ship their products. And this is what you will want to define here. And this information will help determine the cost that will come up for your customers. Now, if you have any more questions about these options, how to set this up, or the shipping box, we have links to learn more, and that'll take you to our help center where you can learn about these things specifically. So what we want to do is add a new rate, we'll say for the continental United States, using what we call real-time shipping. So now that I've upgraded and I've turned that on, we can go ahead and use real-time shipping. So the rate name that we were setting before is going to be determined by the carrier. So now we can choose the carrier, and we see the options are both of the ones that Weebly has set up for us. So let's just choose USPS. And down here, I can choose which options that I want to provide. So if my business is a little inefficient and there's no way that I can guarantee overnight, I can go ahead and turn that one off. But if I want to give somebody a 7 to 21 day, I can leave this on, or I can turn it off. So I can decide what I want to offer my customers. The next thing we see are cost adjustments. Remember that the price that was going to be determined automatically is going to cover the cost of shipping and shipping alone. It's not going to cover the cost of your box and your tape and your packing peanuts and your time, as shipping and handling. So this is where you can increase the price. So we can do this on a percentage basis, or just say that it's going to cost me $5 in addition to the shipping cost on every single order. So we can put in 5 here, and then, don't know why that changed, and then we can go ahead and set the backup shipping rate. So anything that falls outside of the orders above, we can go ahead and set this. So now, although it's uncommon, the carrier may fail to return a rate. So to avoid giving our customer unintentional free shipping, we definitely want to set the backup rate. So we're going to set that rate at $50, and then we'll click on save. I can do the same thing for these areas as well as for the rest of the world if I wanted to recreate that. Let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like really quick. So we go back to our live site, we can go back to our cart and check out, go to checkout. And now we see down here that there's a new thing here for shipping method. So we'll just do test.com. We will use drive, Tempe. Now all of this information gets validated, so I hope I guessed well enough. So I'm not going to waste our time. Good. So that's a good enough address, and because the only thing in my cart is this ebook, we're not seeing the shipping method. So we can go back to our store. Let's add some yoga mats to the cart. So we're going to add the 110-inch pink mat without the custom name, add it to the cart, and we'll go back to the checkout. Next. And now we see the different options. So remember, these are the ones that I set up, the FedEx 7-day, the FedEx 2-day, and these are being determined by the weights that I chose and what's in my cart. Now these here are from the real-time shipping. So we saw a whole list of options, but for between my shipping address and the address for the buyer, these are the two options that are available through real-time shipping. So you can see that really quickly I can set up real-time shipping compared to doing this. And there's good options here, and I know the prices are legitimate. So now that we've set up shipping, we want to set up taxes. The first thing that we need to do is add the list of all the physical locations where my business exists. So these are called nexuses. So every state or city where I have a physical presence is called a nexus. So I have this one that came from my setup, but if I have another store in Texas, I would want to add that here. And that's all to help calculate the tax rates. So what we see here is that the countries that I've chosen to ship to have all automatically been added to this list, which is just the United States right now, but I still need to configure them. So I can click on Set Up, and we see that I have the option to automatically calculate taxes. So Weebly will use the information of my store addresses as well as the information for my buyer and calculate the correct amount of tax to charge. So I click on Save, and at this point, if I were to just refresh here and go through this process, I would see that taxes are going to be calculated if necessary on this purchase, and on this one they are. So just in a couple of clicks of my mouse, I have turned on taxes for my store, and it's all done automatically. I also have the option to do these manually if I want to, for whatever reason. So I can select the states from where people purchase from that I want to charge tax, and I can choose them all, or I can just choose Arizona since I'm only in Arizona. If you do this, you just want to make sure that you understand your tax law when you're setting this up. Now again, the benefit of using this automatic tax calculator is that this was done using tax law, so there's really no reason, especially if you're shipping within the United States, to not use automatically calculated taxes. Now for other regions of the world, we will have to set them up manually, but Weebly does provide you with these percentages, which are updated regularly. They will always be accurate, but we'll go ahead and click on Save. And you have the ability to edit these options if you want. So that's shipping and taxes. We're about an hour in, so I know I'm a little over on time. The problem is we've released so much new stuff recently that it just takes a little more time to get through. I want to show you two more things, and then we'll move on to the Q&A. So the first thing is a type of product that we didn't talk about, and that is gift cards. So you can turn on gift cards in your store, which is going to allow you allow somebody who comes to your store to just purchase basically credit. So give you money that they can then allow somebody else to buy from. Especially with the holiday season, this is an incredibly popular thing for people to do. They don't know exactly what their loved one wants, but they know they love yoga, so they'll get them a gift card to my yoga store, and then that person can come and make the purchase. So once it's enabled, we can go ahead and edit the details of our gift card. I can add a custom image. This looks exactly like our normal product editor. I can change the description. I can also go ahead and change the amounts. The only thing I cannot do is leave the amount blank so that the buyer can just put in whatever they want. I have to have some predefined options. So if I want to give somebody the ability to buy a $1,000 gift card, I need to create that option here. And then we can save the gift card. So we have to display the gift card somewhere on our site. So we will close out. Let's go back to the store page. And let's say that we're going to have, this is our featured products, and then we will separate this with a divider, bring in the product element again. And on this one, we'll just search for gift card. We can select the product, so it shows up here. So we can call this gift cards and discounts. So what about discounts? Well, I haven't created coupons, but I can. Back into store on the left-hand side, we have coupons. Over here, I click on add a coupon, and this is where I create the code. So let's say the November, we'll call the coupon code for this will be November 16. And the number available is going to be, we'll say that we will sell 20 of these. 20. And the type of discount, we will say that it's going to be a 20% discount off of the store, and it's only going to be available through the end of November. And we can choose what types of items this can be used on. So maybe this is for orders over $200. They can use this 20% discount. And we'll copy this, and we'll click on save. So we've created this coupon. We can close out. So here I have my gift card showing, but I can also then, we'll build a column, and we'll November coupon, and then center it, bring in a text element, use coupon code for 20% off of orders over $200. So now we have our gift cards and our discounts on one page. We can go ahead and publish. And now we have all these new offerings on our site. If we were to go back to our store, we would see all these changes that I just made. So that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to cover in this. I guess the very last thing, and I won't go too deep into it just because of time, would be store emails. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but every time somebody makes a purchase or gets a refund, or when you ship an item, they are going to be sent an email. So these emails have kind of a default way of displaying, and we can see that. Let's do order confirmation, and we can see the way the email looks. So in this default, we can see the name of our site. Thank you for your purchase. I can add little messages at the top. So we see where my message would show up, or at the bottom. But the rest of the email is always going to be the same setup. What we can do, though, is we can turn on our promote feature within the Weebly editor. So we can go ahead and click on add profile. So we have to create a sender profile. So I have one already in this account. So we will use this Art of Ashtanga, WeeblyJustin at Gmail, and click on save. So now that I have a sender profile created, if I go down here to the same email, order confirmation, and edit email, we see that this looks completely different. I have the ability to move these areas around. Some of them I can't delete, so it's always going to say thank you for your purchase. It's always going to give the amount, but it doesn't have to be in this order. So there's a digital download as part of this, right? So I can say, I really want the digital download to show up higher on the list. So your download is below. So again, what we're creating is our own template for these emails. If I want the billing and shipping information to be below the order summary, then I can just go ahead and move the order summary above, or the other way around. You can move a spacer there. So you see a lot more customization is available to me. And all I have to do is just add that sender profile up here. Additionally, I can change the email theme. So, the fonts, the overall colors, and really make it match my site in any way that I want. All right, so I think that's good for store emails. We've touched on everything other than the orders tab. In this area, when somebody buys from your store, you're going to see the list of orders here. And this is what you can do when when somebody buys, you can then go in and mark it as shipped, and they will get that email. If you want a deeper look at what this looks like, we can just go to hc.weebly.com, search orders, and we can learn about managing orders. And so this is what that tab would look like if I had some orders in there. And the very last thing is abandoned carts. So again, this is another feature of our performance plan, but abandoned carts, the concept is really phenomenal. Basically, if somebody goes to our site and they start checking out, but they didn't actually finish, right? So this defines how I am right now. So I've gone to the cart, I've entered my email address, I've gone into the checkout process, but I haven't finished. Assuming I don't check out in a certain amount of time, my cart is considered as abandoned. And so I, as the store owner, can send out an automated email 20 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day, or 2 days after the cart is abandoned, basically reminding people, hey, you were going to buy something, but you didn't finish. We are seeing incredible recovery rates for money that's actually being collected by our customers using this feature. And it's really exciting because it's a very, very brand new feature to what Weebly offers. And just like any of our other emails for the store, you can go to store emails, we can go to abandoned cart and edit the email. So we can choose kind of how this is laid out. And we can see, left something behind. We can add our own message here. We could even add some information on other products. So I can add a product element in. And then I can go ahead, add the products that I want to show off. So we can use the gear category. Well, let's just use the yoga mats, the gift card. We'll call that good. So we'll add these 2 products. That looks good. And so now they show up in the email. So a lot of ways that you can really use the power of Weebly to increase the strength of your store. All right, so I'm going to stop there. I'm going to start looking at the questions. If you have any other questions about anything that I've gone over or about something on your own store that you're having trouble with or just don't understand, feel free to ask. I'm going to get a quick drink of water and I'll be right back with you. All right. The first question from Lev is, I have a very large product description. How do I put it in here? It's a perfect question. Actually, I didn't cover that answer. So let's say we go to yoga mats and we look at the product description and then we'll go to the page. So overall, we can really see that we don't want this to be much bigger than it is right now. Because of all these options that I have, it's kind of pushing everything down the page a bit. So I don't want to put much more than this here. But if I have a lot more that I want to talk about with the product, what I can do is scroll all the way to the bottom and we see this area down here that has this border. Now this area is basically just a content area like you would see on any Weebly page. So I can go down here, I can add a title, more information. I can go ahead and add a text element, blah, blah, blah. I can add an image element. So I can, show off maybe somebody using the mat or whatever. I could even add a gallery. Anything that I could add to a normal page, I can add here, including other products. So again, you can cross sell. So hey, if you're going to get a yoga mat, it's likely that you want to take a yoga class, right? So we can go down here, add a title, and say related products. Use the products element, drag it in. And then we can choose the workshops and the lead classes. We'll make it only 2 columns so you can see these products, but I can also change the way this is all displayed. So I can make it so the info shows maybe when I hover over, or we can show with the image behind. I think that's pretty good for this page. So this is the long description. It's on every product page, and it's going to be the way that you're going to want to show off additional information. Like let's say that on my ebook, let's say that I wanted to put like an excerpt from the book. I can go ahead and do that down here. Maybe I have like a screenshot of it, or maybe I have a doc that I want to upload into our document element, maybe a page or 2 of the book, and I can go ahead and upload that in here. Maybe if I had an audio summary of the book, I could go ahead and use an audio element. Oops. But just kind of, I can organize the page in this way. So audio summary, and we'll say section from chapter 2. So I can do that type of thing on my product pages as well. All right, so at this point, that was the only question that came in. I'm going to show you where you can go again to get any additional help, and there's 2 great places. The first is going to be the Help Center. Anything that you want to do. So if you wanted to understand the real-time shipping, just type in the word real, and then we can click on real-time shipping. And everything that I went over is here, but it even goes into some more granular detail on a couple of the items. How to set up the FedEx, your custom account with the real-time shipping. This is an incredible resource. Every question that you have about your Weebly website, the answer is here. So if I type in long description, how do I add a long description or other elements to my product page? Which is exactly what we were doing just now. The other place that you can go for help is our community. Now, our community consists of some employees, employee moderators, and then a huge amount of customers, just like you, who use this area to discuss their sites, discuss best practices, how they're using Weebly features, and how they're using the new ones to really help their business. So we can click on e-commerce on the left, and then we can look at the current topics that are going on here, or you can start your own topic and ask your own question and get some traction there. Of course, we also have our live support, so you can send us an email, or you can chat with us, or give us a phone call, and we will be here to help. Another question has come in from Lisa. Is there an option to customize receipts per purchase to give purchasers opt-in or where they go to log in to something? I've had to pay for other systems to accommodate this. Receipts per purchase. So after checkout, I'm going to be, like, if I were to actually go through and pay here, I'm going to be taken to a receipt page that we see here. That page is in addition to the email that gets sent out. So as we went over, we can customize the receipt emails, but there is not a way to customize the page that is displayed when the customer makes their purchase. At this point, that would still be a feature request. And I believe that the second part of this question would be, can I have like something like on Amazon, like when one of Amazon's customers goes to buy, they log in first, right, to their account on that site, and they get they can store their payment information, they can see their past purchases. That as well is that's not a feature of our native Weebly, but we can look in the apps. There might be something here. So we'll try to find, so in e-commerce, I think the one I'm thinking of is this, but I don't think this is the answer to your question. But natively in just what Weebly offers, the first question, can I customize the receipt page that people see right after they purchase? The answer at this point is no, and the answer to the second one is no as well. But I know both of those things are highly requested. Content. To Lisa's point, customizable per purchase receipts to deliver important content not available to other purchases. That makes a lot of sense. So like on certain products, the page displays something. I work on or I should say I manage the voice of the customer team. I'll make sure that I note these down and that they get in front of our product managers at some point. We are listening very, very closely to our customers. And I think as evidenced by all of the features that have come out this past year, such as sections and all of these brand new e-commerce tools, it's definitely a priority to understand what would be valuable to you and help you run a better business through Weebly. So we do take that very seriously, and I'll make sure that I pass your requests along. So at this point, we are through the questions. I appreciate you sticking with me. I will do better next time to try to make it shorter, although I just think it's really hard with all of the features. But everybody that started with me today is still with me right now. So I think that's a good sign. Thank you very much. Again, any questions that you have, just start at the Help Center and you will be able to find all of the other places that I've led you to. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Best of luck with your site, and really hope that you start taking a look at the new features. And just on a personal level, abandoned cart, it's extremely exciting to see what that's doing for our customers. So, all right, have a good one, and we'll see you soon. Bye.